Never compare again. This insane motivational story will change how you see yourself forever. In a town long forgotten by the world, whispers of an extraordinary event echoed through its winding streets. What lay before the faded sign of Dreamer's Cafe was more than caffeine and pastries. It was a portal, a place where the mundane reached out and touched the miraculous. This wasn't just another coffee shop. No, this cafe held secrets, mysteries hidden beneath the ordinary. Patrons swirled in and out, their voices blending into a symphony of curiosity, as tales of a girl named Clara sparked an excitement in the air. It was said she could look into your soul and see the dreams you locked away, the ones you didn't dare speak of. One winter morning, Clara sat by the window, her breath fogging the glass, revealing fleeting ghostly images of a future that could be. With wide, emerald eyes and a slight smile that suggested she was in on a cosmic joke, she stirred her coffee, and the surface shimmered like liquid gold. Every swirl was a testament to the hopes and despair that brewed around her. Yet, one unsettling detail clung to the air like the sweet scent of cinnamon. No one ever left the cafe the same. They emerged transformed, searching for answers, grappling with shadows of their own despair. As whispers grew more daring, one fateful night a thunderstorm raged outside, causing the cafe's lights to flicker ominously. The churning wind sent chills through the crowd, but it was the sudden silence that gripped them. Clara had stood, her voice rising above the din. It's time to break the chains of comparison. The word struck like a lightning bolt, igniting a sense of urgency. A palpable tension filled the room, everyone leaning in closer, hearts racing. What was so different about Clara? Why did people flock to her for guidance, while others ran from their own reflections? Was it true that she possessed the ability to unearth one's greatest fears and yet help them find a path back to themselves? Questions spiraled, each one more desperate than the last. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. A sudden gasp swept through the crowd as Clara's eyes glinted, revealing a depth that seemed both beautiful and haunting. She held out a small, tattered notebook, pages yellowing with age. Everything I've seen, every story I've collected, it can be your escape. Her voice trembled, as if those words were both an invitation and a warning. And as the rain lashed against the cafe's windows, Clara whispered to the world outside, "This is only the beginning." What will happen next? What dark revelations lie in the pages of that notebook? Will you dare to uncover the truth? Clara's heart raced in the silence that followed her proclamation. The cafe clientele, faces frozen in disbelief, seemed to share a collective breath, suspended in time. The storm outside mirrored the turmoil brewing within each of them, a tempest of emotions yearning for release. Evelyn, a local teacher known for her practicality, rose from her seat, trembling slightly. "Clara, what exactly do you mean by escape? What have you seen?" Her voice cracked, fear tainting her curiosity. She had visited the cafe seeking motivation, hoping to snuff out the growing doubts that echoed in her mind. Clara's gaze remained steady, almost otherworldly, as she opened the notebook, revealing scrawled pages filled with intricate drawings and fevered notes. Each story is a reflection of your fears, your insecurities. This. She paused, addressing the gathering crowd, "Isn't just my insight, it's a chance for you to confront what haunts you." A murmur rippled through the cafe, a mix of confusion and intrigue. Jamie, a young artist who had watched her dreams smother under the weight of comparison, leaned forward. "And what if we don't want to see? What if we're afraid of what's right behind those dreams?" Clara smiled softly, acknowledging the shadows lurking behind Jamie's words. "That's the point. To truly live, you must face your reflection, however distorted it may seem." A crash of thunder punctuated her statement, further electrifying the room. The lights flickered once more, and everyone seemed to lean in closer, compelled by an invisible force. Clara knew the power of vulnerability, the way it could transform fear into strength. She flipped to a new page, one that remained blank, the ink of potential waiting to be spilled, but before she could continue, the door swung open violently, forcing the wind and rain into the warmth of the cafe. In walked an elderly man, soaked to the bone, with a wild look in his eyes. "You have to stop her," he shouted, gasping for air. His unexpected arrival jolted them back from the brink of revelation. Clara's heart pounded in her chest, the storm outside now less threatening than the question that flickered in the old man's gaze. "Stop who?" she asked, stepping forward. The eyes of the crowd darted between Clara and the stranger, a collective fear palpable in the air. "The girl with the green eyes, she's dangerous," he stammered, his voice filled with a mix of urgency and dread. "She sees too much. She takes too much." Gasps erupted around the cafe. The mysterious aura that had drawn them to Clara now appeared sinister. Clara took a step back, the weight of his words slamming into her like a wave. "What do you mean?" she pressed, determination igniting her voice. "I've seen what happens to those who meet their shadows and don't come back. They fade, they become lost. You think you want to see, but you might never return." His eyes darted around, landing on each of their faces before he added, "You'll wish you had never compared." Clara felt a chill creep up her spine. Shadows stretched across the cafe, darkening the edges of hope with every heartbeat. She brushed her fingers against the pages of her notebook, the weight of fear and revelation pressing down on her. Maybe it's time, Clara thought, her mind racing. But what if the truth she fought to reveal held more than just her own dreams? What if it would unearth terrifying realities for them all? As the crowd shifted uneasily, Clara steeled herself. "Everyone deserves to see," she said, trying to maintain her resolve. But inside, doubt whispered, urging her to reconsider. The storm continued to rage, both outside and within. With a rush of adrenaline, Clara flipped to the next page, ready to share what lay ahead. Unbeknownst to her, an unspeakable truth loomed. "Your stories," she began, voice firm yet unsteady, "are more intertwined than you know." But before she could finish, a shadow darted past the window, just beyond the reach of the cafe lights. It was too fast to identify, and a shiver of unease spread through the audience. "Did you see that?" someone whispered, hearts pounding in sync. What was lurking in the storm outside? And what was the real cost of confronting their darkest fears? Clara's breath hitched in her throat. The night was only just beginning, and the darkness had its own plans. The wind howled outside, an entity all its own, seeking to breach the sanctuary of the cafe. Clara's heart raced with questions. What had the old man seen? Who was the girl with the green eyes? But more pressing was the shadow that flitted by the window moments ago. It felt too alive, too deliberate for a simple trick of the storm. The crowd's energy shifted palpably. Fear now hung thick in the air, an oppressive mist that twisted the reality they thought they knew. Evelyn took a step back, her face pale as she whispered, "I think we should leave now." Clara's voice cut through the tension, sharp as glass. "We can't let fear control us." She gripped the edge of the table, the wood rough against her palm, a grounding reminder of her strength. "What lies beyond our fears can set us free. But what if it consumes us instead?" Jamie murmured, her eyes wide and haunted, reflecting the storm and the chaos swirling around them. Clara understood Jamie's instinct to retreat. The unknown was terrifying. It wasn't just shadows outside that haunted them, it was the darkness inside, the echoes of unfulfilled ambitions and bruised egos. "I don't think the old man is wrong," someone in the back finally piped up, a man named Marcus. Tension rippled through the group as all eyes turned to him. What if there really is something out there? Something we can't bear to confront? Suddenly, another shadow flashed past the window, more persistent this time. Panic broke like a dam, chairs scraped against the floor as some tried to flee. Clara felt her heart sink. This was what she feared, the soul-crushing grip of doubt. No. Stay. She shouted, desperation rising in her chest as she scanned their faces. You have to listen to me. I promise, if we face this together, we can defeat whatever is lurking in the shadows. The cafe door slammed shut, rattling the frame and sending a shockwave of fear through everyone present. The flickering light overhead cast erratic shadows that danced along the walls, mimicking the chaos brewing. The storm continued to roar outside, but the patio lights began to flicker more violently, threatening to plunge them into darkness. The old man's words echoed in Clara's mind, and dread crawled along her spine. What if the girl with green eyes wasn't just a specter? What if confronting their fears meant facing something far more sinister than themselves? Tension spiked in the room, and just as the wind howled once more, the lights went out completely, plunging them into total darkness. Gasps erupted. Clara's heart raced. Stay calm, she urged, but her own voice trembled. In the oppressive silence, the storm outside roared louder, and yet something else pulsed beneath it. A laughter, soft and sinister, fluttered through the room, almost mocking. Clara's breath quickened. It felt alive, weaving through the air like smoke. Who is there? Clara called, her heart pounding in her chest. Reveal yourself. But no answer came. Only the distant sound of raindrops splattering against the windows, joined by a whisper that wrapped around them like vines. You shouldn't have come here. Clara's blood ran cold. What awaited her on the other side of their fears? Was it even possible to escape the entanglement of their haunting shadows? As she fumbled in the dark, the weight of the unknown loomed larger than it ever had. The door to escape was not simply a door, it was a past shadow, an indelible reflection that could change everything. Something cracked, a whisper in the dark. The opening they sought was closing fast. Could Clara summon the courage to find her way through, or was this storm merely a prelude to their final confrontation? Fear mingled with resolve, pumping through her veins as her hand clenched the notebook once more. She had to act. Time was slipping away. What lay ahead would test them in ways they could never expect. Would they emerge victorious, or would they succumb to the darkness? Clara's heart thundered in her chest, each beat a reminder of the darkness that enveloped them. She took a deep breath, trying to calm the rising tide of panic. Cold, clammy air brushed against her skin, and it felt like tendrils of fear wrapping around her throat. Evelyn. Jamie. Marcus. Everyone. She yelled, her voice rising above the storm's fury. We need to stick together. We can't let whatever this is divide us. But her words hung in the air like smoke dissipating, lost to the shadows. She couldn't hear their footsteps, or even their whispers. It was like they had all been swallowed whole. Clara felt an overwhelming sense of isolation, the kind that gnawed at the edges of sanity. Suddenly, a flicker. A glimmer of light emerged from her pocket where she had stored her phone. With trembling fingers, she fumbled for it, her thumb brushing the screen. A dim glow illuminated her surroundings but cast strange, exaggerated shadows on the walls. The air was thick with anticipation, she felt it rise and fall like the breath of looming danger. Can anyone see anything? She called out again, this time her voice softer, more vulnerable. Clara. It came from the direction of the counter. It was Marcus. His voice was strained, almost strained enough to crack. I'm here. The light from her phone caught something, a flicker of movement near the window. Clara's heart jumped as she turned toward it. Marcus, stay close. I can't move, he admitted, his voice fading. It feels like something is holding me. She could hear him struggling, the scrape of his shoes against the floor. Fear gnawed at her, but she couldn't allow it to paralyze her. I'm coming. Clara shouted, forcing her trembling legs to move towards him. A step, another. Each movement felt like wading through mud, heavy and thick. Please. Marcus whimpered. I can't breathe. The words ignited a fire in her heart, and Clara pushed through the darkness toward his voice. Her phone swung wildly, casting shadows that seemed to reach out toward her, fingers of darkness trying to pull her in. With a sudden burst of speed, she reached Marcus. She grabbed his arm, and an electric jolt surged up her spine. "Let us go. We can't let fear take us. We have to find the others." But just then, the lights flickered back to life, a blinding flash that illuminated the cafe in stark relief. It was not reassurance but chaos. Everyone was there, huddled against the walls, faces pale and wide-eyed. Fear etched into their features as if they'd just seen the embodiment of their nightmares, but it was not the shadows outside that paralyzed them. No. It was the girl with the green eyes. She stood at the entrance, framed by the doorway as an ethereal figure drenched in rain. Her gaze was captivating, a deep green that seemed to twist reality. "Help me," the girl said softly, her voice barely above a whisper yet echoing through the cafe like thunder. Clara's heart dropped. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to turn away from what felt so intensely powerful yet dangerously inviting. "Who are you?" Clara shouted, bracing herself against the overwhelming pull of the girl's gaze. "I'm you, and I'm not you," she answered cryptically, stepping forward. Clara felt the ground beneath her thrum with energy, a connection threading through them as the girl drew nearer. "Let us in just a little," she cooed. No, Clara scrambled backward, a surge of visceral dread sweeping through her. "Stay away." But the girl's green eyes shimmered with promises of understanding, of relief from the torment consuming them all. It felt like a lure, an offer to unveil the truths they hid even from themselves. The cafe trembled, shadows creeping closer, pulling at the edges of their sanity. "You need to choose," the girl said, her voice fading with the hum of the storm. Beneath the weight of fear, Clara felt something shift inside her. Is this a dream? Or a nightmare? That question echoed just above the chaos, piercing the dark. All around, the room swirled with tension. Clara stood at the precipice, caught between fear and the unknown. What awaited them was uncertain, but one thing was clear: to confront those green eyes would mean laying bare the deepest parts of them all. Was the girl a savior or a harbinger of doom? Would uncovering the truth lead them to salvation or destruction? The decision loomed like a murky fog, a portal to realms of fear they might not be ready to face. As the wind howled and the walls closed in, all Clara could do was whisper a prayer into the void. What lay beyond that luminous gaze? Would Clara's battle with the darkness expose the truth they all needed, or would it consume them whole? The cafe, filled with palpable tension, felt alive. Clara's breath quickened. The green-eyed girl stepped closer, a wisp of mist swirling around her delicate form, intensifying the air with an eerie energy that vibrated against Clara's skin. Each heartbeat echoed in her ears, a rhythmic reminder of the dread pooling in her stomach. "Clara!" Marcus shouted, his voice breaking through the fog. "Don't listen to her. We have to leave." He strained against whatever invisible force clutched at him. "Can't you see?" Clara cried back, desperation in her voice. "She knows something we don't. Or she wants to twist it." Marcus protested, his face pale, eyes wide with panic. Around them, the others murmured, expressions caught between fear and fascination. The girl's green eyes bore into Clara, flickering with a seductive promise. "You're stronger than you think," she whispered. "Let go of the fear. Choose to see the truth." Shadows twisted, stretching ominously toward the girl as whispers echoed through the cafe, internal battles raging within each of them. Instinctively, Clara felt a tug at her heart, a longing for understanding, for release. "What truth?" she demanded. "In every heart lies a darkness, Clara. A part of you desires to break free." The girl extended her hand. "Join with me, and together we can face it. No more masks. No more lies. Don't do it." Jamie shouted, stepping forward, his brows knitted in concern. "What if she's just a lie, a trap?" His voice trembled, and with it, Clara felt the seeds of doubt pull at her. Clara wavered, caught between fear and curiosity. The cafe flickered again, the magnetic pull of the girl's gaze sinking deeper into her essence. What if Marcus is right? She thought. What if this is exactly what the shadows want me to do? The tension escalated, eyes darting amongst one another. The storm muddied their thoughts, turning the air thick and heavy, pushing them to a precipice from which there was no return. Clara Evelyn's voice cut through the chaos, a thread of sanity woven through madness. You know what you feel in your gut. Trust that. The girl's expression darkened, fissures of discontent breaking the surface of her calm demeanor. You think you can follow these feelings? They'll betray you. Clara shook her head, her heart racing. She could feel the darkness beckoning, pleading, as if it were a friend she'd known all her life. No. She shouted, fists clenching at her sides. Clara took a step back, and the shadows shrank away, retreating from her resolve. Marcus was straining against whatever bound him. Clara. Fight it. Fight all of this. His words bolstered her, a beacon in the storm. Evelyn took a step toward the girl, eyes defiant. You think you can control us? You think fear will make us bow? The cafe trembled again, the walls vibrating with energy, whispers morphing into a cacophony. The girl recoiled, the green in her eyes swirling into a tempest of black. You think you'll find strength? It will be your undoing. Then let us see. Clara replied with fierce determination, standing firmly against the tide of doubt threatening to surge over her. The energy in the air shifted, growing heavier, crackling as her words hung in the room. We need to find that strength together. We won't allow you to break us. The girl erupted in a shriek, piercing and inhuman, and the shadows lashed out like serpents, writhing and snapping. Clara braced herself, panic surging anew. Hold on to each other. Clara yelled, reaching for Marcus through the chaos, pushing towards him like a lighthouse against a stormy sea, but just then, the ground quaked, and with a deafening roar, the cafe began to shake violently, fractures spreading across the walls like angry veins of black. Everything around them fell apart, scattering their unity in the wake of pure rage. What awaited them was cloaked in darkness, but Clara felt the instinct to fight burning within her. They had to stand together, face the unknown, or be consumed by the chaos. Outside, the storm raged, a physical manifestation of their conflict. Would breaking through the darkness unravel the shadows or consume them completely? With a final push, Clara leaped forward into the fray. The choice was upon them, but the cost remained a sinister mystery. What would they uncover if they shattered the veil? As the shadows converged, Clara could only hope they would emerge not as lost souls but as something far greater. Clara's heart raced as darkness swirled around her like living smoke. Each pulse resonated in her chest, urging her to advance further into the unknown. The shadows screamed and hissed, threatening to engulf her. But something in her kept pushing forward, a flame ignited by sheer will. Clara. Marcus's voice broke through the chaos again, desperate yet steady. Focus on us. We're together. She turned to him, his face lit with determination despite the fear etched around his eyes. It gave her the strength to keep going. The girl with green eyes loomed closer now, her expression twisted, a mix of rage and desperation. You cannot fight what you are. Embrace it. As Clara inched towards her friends, the shadowy tendrils reached out for her, brushing like cold fingers against her skin. Don't listen. It's a trick. Jamie shouted, his voice unwavering. Yet the temptation pulsed bright within her, an alluring whisper inviting her to give in. With a roar that shook the very air, Marcus surged forward, tearing free of his invisible bonds. In that pivotal moment, the shadows recoiled, as if sensing the strength of friendship. The cafe itself responded, walls vibrating with the tension building between the group and the encroaching darkness. Together. Clara yelled again, as she felt Evelyn's hand clasped tightly around hers. A network of warmth spread through her, anchoring her to reality. They formed a circle, a shield against the chaos, but the girl wasn't finished. She unleashed a fury of nightmarish winds, spiraling around the group. You think this pitiful bond will save you? You are only delaying the inevitable. A chill danced down Clara's spine, but she clenched her jaw. Maybe, but it's better than giving in. The shadows gathered, swirling into a towering vortex above them. Clara could feel the weight of every doubt, every fear she'd ever had, wrapped in that darkness. It pressed against her chest, forcing her to her knees. She gasped, struggling to catch her breath, heart hammering in a symphony of fear. Fight it. Fight her. Evelyn screamed, her voice fierce but soft at the edges, like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. What was it like, she wondered, to let that darkness swallow her whole? Did it truly offer freedom, or merely a different kind of bondage? As she pondered, visions stormed through her mind, moments of rejection, pain, and those chilling whispers that told her she wasn't enough. She squeezed her eyes shut, wishing them away, then, Marcus's hand squeezed hers harder. Don't close your eyes. We're right here. Clara opened her eyes, and what she saw struck her with clarity. She saw Marcus, Jamie, Evelyn, each radiating moments of strength from within a collective mirror reflecting hope. They couldn't and wouldn't allow darkness to claim them. In an instant, conviction surged in her veins. We fought for this. We deserve to know the truth. She cried out. With that cry, a wave of light emanated from their circle, pushing back against the girl. The shadows writhed, hissing, and for the first time, fear flickered in green eyes. Clara felt the energy shift, a tangible force pulling back the curtain of despair. Join us. She shouted, anchoring that hope as one. It echoed through the room, reverberating off the crumbling walls, and suddenly, the cafe exploded in light, blinding and vibrant, forcing the shadows to retreat like storm clouds scattering before the dawn. Clara gasped as she felt freedom collide with possibility. It felt almost euphoric, but just then, as the light dimmed and fragments of shadow coiled in retreat, the girl shrieked. You think this is over? Her voice had transformed, dripping with malice. You don't know what you've just started. With all the power of the darkness swirling around, Clara took a shaky breath. Was it truly over? And yet, beyond that swirling chaos lay a feeling of bone-deep certainty that the night was far from finished. What new horrors awaited them in the dusk? The room pulsed with residual light, a warm cocoon in the heart of a storm. Clara's chest heaved as she struggled to regain her senses. The cafe facade, once welcoming, now appeared cracked and battered, held together only by the remnants of their shared light. Shadows scuttled away, yet the air thrummed with unspent energy, gnawing at her resolve. Is everyone okay? Jamie gasped, his voice trembling as he looked around. Yeah, I think so, Clara replied, but uncertainty hushed her more than the darkness had moments before. Evelyn scanned the room, her eyes wide and breathing erratic. What did she mean? Before anyone could answer, the girl's ominous laughter cut through the silence. It slithered around them, wrapping them in paranoia. You fought well, but that was merely a skirmish. I'll show you what real darkness looks like. The tension in the room thickened, the walls vibrating with a low hum that suggested something was swelling just behind their reality. Clara felt her skin prickle, every instinct screaming at her to flee. Panic clawed at her throat as echoes of doubt rushed back, threatening to drown out the warmth of their bond. Stay close. Marcus shouted, inching toward the flickering remnants of their light. Clara noticed how fierce his expression remained, but panic coursed through her, manifesting as a tremor in her legs. Suddenly, the floor beneath them cracked like thunder, shards of wood splintering upwards. Clara stumbled, grasping for balance, and felt a wave of shadow surge as dark figures erupted from the fissures. They took shape, twisted forms made of their very fears, each one angling towards them with insatiable hunger. Hold hands! Jamie shouted, gripping Evelyn's hand while letting his other reach for Clara. Clara intertwined her fingers with theirs. We're stronger together, she affirmed, but doubt gnawed at her mind. The swirling figures approached, diaphanous projections shaped by their insecurities, whispering ruthless truths. You are not brave enough. You don't deserve to win. Shut up. Clara screamed, forcing her voice past her pain. You're wrong. Her voice sparked something in the others. Marcus took a step forward. This isn't who we are. He growled, and his fierce energy radiated encouragement through their linked hands. The figures hesitated, just for a moment, but then surged forward. They clawed at the edges of Clara's very will. Their faces shifted grotesquely into those she had feared her entire life: judgment from classmates, words from past relationships, parents' expectations that felt like chains. Each truth cut deeper than the last, sinking like jagged ice in her veins. Clara pushed back against the suffocating terror. Everything she was struggling to be surged forward with the combined energies of her friends. This isn't real. As her voice rang through the cafe again, Clara felt the light expand, illuminating the edges of their prison, and infusing her soul with a defiance that surprised even her. Together, remember? Marcus said, his eyes flaring bright. They pulled in the spare light that remained, every ounce of warmth, friendship, and shared experience pooling at their center. Shadows recoiled, and she imagined their light as a shield, solid and impenetrable. Clara breathed deeply, pouring her fear into the collective heart of her friends. Let us show them our truth. From that surged a force that felt like a flame igniting within a bonfire of resilience, roaring against every whisper of doubt. But just as they formed this unstoppable wave of energy, a sinister heartbeat resonated beneath their feet, underscoring the realization that nothing was ever truly done. What now? Jamie breathed, panic creeping into his voice again. Behind the shadows, the girl with the green eyes stood, fury building like a storm, smiling wide. You think you can escape this? You'll wish you had never been born into this world. Clara took a step back, clutching the hands of her friends tighter as a chill emptied the heat from the room. What could possibly emerge from the depths as their foe revealed herself once more? And then, that sinister smile widened. What depths awaited them there in their darkest hour? The air thickened as Clara's heart raced. Shadows writhed, their forms morphing amidst their collective defiance. An echoing heartbeat, the girl's heartbeat, vibrated through the floor, pulling them down into a darkness deeper than they had ever faced. Clara, Jamie's voice faltered, barely a whisper. What do we do? The girl with the green eyes stepped closer, her presence squeezing the light out of the room. You've had your fun, but now it's time for real pain. Her fingers twitched, and Clara felt an icy pressure settle over her throat, as if the shadows were reaching for her, binding her in place. No. Not today. Clara yelled, clenching her fists. She felt the pulse of their joined hands, Marcus's strength anchoring her. Focus. Marcus shouted, his voice booming. Remember why we're here. Images flooded Clara's mind, laughter, moments of triumph, every shared memory carved into her heart. We're more than our fears. She shouted, squeezing Jamie and Evelyn's hands tighter, but the shadows were relentless. They tore at Clara's resolve, and she gasped as visions of her insecurities twisted around her. Each shadowy figure now wore the faces of those who had once belittled her. You think you matter? You're just taking up space, one hissed, its voice dripping with mockery. Clara felt her vulnerability crack, echoing the splinters in the floor. But she dug deep, forcing the warmth back. I am enough. She cried, feeling her friend's belief fueling her, creating a protective barrier. Let us go. Marcus rallied as their combined courage ignited bright, like a shield against the overwhelming darkness. With their hands still clasped, they pushed forward against the tide of fear. The shadows recoiled, their ominous voices faltering under the intensity of Clara's light. You can't take us. She declared again, a fire kindling in her chest. But as the incandescent energy began to overpower the darkness, the girl's laughter echoed again, but this time with a sinister edge. You think a little light can save you? She jeered, a flicker of malevolence in her eyes. Your true fears lie deeper than you can imagine. Suddenly, a crash shook the ground beneath them. The cafe trembled as the remnants of light flickered. Clara stumbled back, fear clutching her heart as she watched the shadows morph and multiply, growing stronger as they fed on doubt. "Hold on!" Evelyn yelled, struggling to stand upright. The connection between them felt tenuous, and they needed to act fast. Clara felt her world shift, an overwhelming sense of uncertainty creeping in. This was more than a fight against darkness, it was a battle for survival. Then it struck her an idea, like a lightning bolt. What if we confront them? Face our fears head on? What do you mean? Jamie asked, his brow furrowed. Instead of running or pushing them away, we show them our truth. Let us not just fight against them, but show them who we really are. The weight of her words hung in the air as her friends exchanged looks, pondering the risk. But a spark ignited in Jamie's eyes. Okay. Let us do it. We've come this far. The echoes of their past and present hearts synced, forming a rhythm. Clara drew a deep breath and stepped into the darkness, holding on to her friends tightly. You want us to fear? We will not hide. We are bold, we are brave, and we won't be broken. The shadows hissed in response, their grotesque forms thrumming with rage, a chorus of venomous whispers spiraling around Clara. But they stepped further, deeper into the darkness, ready to unveil their truths, heartbeats drumming louder. Would their light be enough to disperse the shadows? The question hung thick in the air as the figure with the green eyes leaned into their unyielding light. Could Clara and her friends emerge victorious, or was this just another deception lurking beneath the surface? As they plunged deeper into the shadows, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew heavier, like a suffocating blanket wrapped around them. Clara's heart pounded in a staccato rhythm, each beat a reminder of the stakes at play. Stay close. Marcus shouted, his eyes flickering with determination. The shadows writhed, seeming to pulse in time with the drum of their hearts. The taunts intensified, swirling around them like a violent wind. Clara squeezed her friend's hands tighter, a lifeline in the chaotic storm of fears. She could feel their collective energy shifting, intertwining with the flickering light they generated together. Face us. Clara shouted back at the ghostly shapes, finding strength in her voice. We are not afraid of you. We reject you. The shadows shrieked, their sounds echoing like a cacophony of nightmares. Figures formed and dissolved, faces of doubt morphing into distorted images of Clara's past. Each whisper dragged her back, moments when she felt invisible, unworthy. Each one aimed to anchor her in despair. Suddenly, a larger shadow broke free, a monstrous amalgamation of the darkest parts of her mind. Its eyes glinted with malice, and it loomed over her, mocking her confidence. You think courage can shield you? You'll always fall short. But something deep within Clara ignited. The warmth within her flared bright. She recalled all the times she had fought for what she believed in, the moments where she had triumphed against the odds. She shouted, her voice ringing with authority. You don't define me. I decide my worth. As those words left her mouth, a crack split through the darkness. Light burst forth from the cracks, revealing glimpses of her friend standing strong, unyielding beside her. Jamie, with his unshakable spirit, and Evelyn, whose unwavering belief radiated like an invisible shield. Together. Marcus cried, as they mirrored Clara's resolve. With renewed strength, they removed their constraints, peeling back the layers of doubt. Each step forward illuminated the path, casting the shadows away like so much debris. We are not our fears. We are the sum of our strengths. Clara declared, letting the light from their unwavering unity surge forward. The monstrous shadow writhed under their collective light, howling as it shrank back. But as they pressed on, the girl with green eyes emerged from the chaos, her smile twisted and sinister. You think you've won? You've merely scratched the surface. Clara's pulse quickened. Was there more? The path had seemed so clear, and now layers peeled away, revealing deeper fears lurking beneath. Every triumph has its price. The girl cackled, her hand outstretched. Deep down, you harbor your true darkness, the one you have yet to face. You are nothing but a reflection. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. Shadows began to swirl violently, magnifying Clara's deepest insecurity. What if she really was a reflection, just a flicker of light in a world filled with darkness? She staggered. Could it be true? Push forward. Marcus urged, trying to hold her steady. The answers are within us. Clara hesitated, heart racing. The truth felt like 1,000 weights pressing down on her. What if we don't know who we really are? She whispered, doubt creeping in. Around them, shadows thickened, dulling the light. They had just begun to face their fears, but Clara could sense another fight lurking. The question ignited a chilling fear that they hadn't fully grasped the battle brewing. Were they ready to unveil their true selves, knowing it could shatter everything they thought they knew? The ground quaked again, louder this time, and the shadows seemed to spiral towards something far darker, something yet unseen. Clara felt the urgency pulse in the air. What's waiting for us in that darkness? She thought, terror gripping her heart. Before she could answer, a blinding flash erupted at the end of their path, illuminating the shadows. But what would emerge from that light? Would it be salvation or their ultimate downfall? The darkness hung heavy as the answer edged closer. Tangled with the echoes of their fears. What revelation awaited them beyond this point of no return? As the blinding light surged forward, Clara felt her heart synchronize with the rhythm of its pulse. It mingled with the heat of her friend's presence, lending her strength. Together, they had journeyed through a tempest, and now stood on the threshold of their ultimate revelation. Don't look away. Clara shouted, bracing herself as the light enveloped them. The room trembled in reaction to their collective will, shadows distorting, fighting against the truth they were about to uncover. The girl with the green eyes watched, her expression a mixture of amusement and dread, as if she was aware of a clock ticking down to zero. You are mere reflections of your dreams and fears, she challenged, her voice dangerously calm amid the swirling chaos. But can you stand the weight of your own truths? Let us show her. Evelyn shouted, her fierce resolve cutting through the shadows before them like a laser beam. Clara nodded, emboldened by the glimmer of courage within each friend's eyes. They began to move as one, every step forging new ground underfoot as flickering doubts began to vanish behind them. The bright light intensified, illuminating the café's interior, but even more importantly, it illuminated the depths of their souls. This is who we are. Clara cried out, her voice echoing as she felt clarity wash over her. We are not what you say we are, we choose to shine. With each declaration, the dark specters shrieked in retaliation. Clara saw forms of herself, an awkward girl, a shadow of self-doubt, a voice that always held back. But behind those forms, flickers of light sparked to life, illuminating her true essence of strength and hope. Fear doesn't define us, it informs us. Marcus shouted, stepping forward with unwavering conviction. The grips of darkness began to loosen. With hands still connected like an unbreakable chain, they stepped deeper into the light, confronting the lingering doubts nestled within them. Do not let the darkness consume you. Jamie echoed, his voice steadying the group. We own our stories, and we are worthy. Each word fueled the heat of their bond, morphing fear into fierce resolve. The girl with green eyes recoiled, her earlier confidence diminishing as the shadows drew back, struggling against the undeniable brightness of their unity. No! She shrieked as they surged toward the crux of light, a union reflecting their intertwined hopes and dreams. In a powerful crescendo, the light exploded outward, illuminating every inch, every fiber of the café, dispersing shadows in a tempest of brilliance. The darkness hissed, recoiling and swirling until it vanished into the ether, leaving only trembling echoes behind. As silence descended, the air felt lighter. Heartbeats synchronized, breathing returned to normal, and the warmth of connection filled the space where shadows once loomed. Clara glanced around her friends, each looking as if they too felt newly awakened. We did it, she whispered, the realization wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Yet, as Clara turned to face where the girl stood, a shiver ran down her spine. Though the green-eyed figure was gone, a lingering presence carved its mark in the room. This is not the end, Clara thought, her pulse quickening. The night had revealed so much, but it also left questions hanging, a tapestry of new challenges on the horizon. Clara, Jamie breathed, startlingly normal after an extraordinary battle. What happens now? What if there's more to face? Clara nodded slowly, reflecting on the shared experience, the darkness that challenged them, the fears they had confronted together. Maybe every day we face another piece of our truth, she said thoughtfully. Every fear we conquer prepares us for the ones still ahead. I'll face them, Marcus reaffirmed, determination emanating from him. With all of you. Together, we're unstoppable, Evelyn chimed in, a glimmer of excitement lighting her eyes. The storm outside had receded, allowing a soft glow to seep through the cafe windows, illuminating the remnants of what once was. As they stepped outside, breathing in the sweet scent of rain-soaked earth, Clara cracked a smile. The cafe had transformed into an indelible symbol of their resilience, a place where shadows dared not tread anymore. In that moment, it was just them. Their laughter echoed through the winding streets, each step a declaration of victory over doubt, a promise of friendship forged in the fire of fear, but somewhere, deep inside, the shadows of uncertainty would always linger. They had faced one darkness, learned the power of themselves, but Clara knew the journey still lay ahead. This isn't over, she whispered resolutely. It's just the beginning. The wind carried her words as they merged into the world outside, ready to embrace whatever challenges awaited. Now, it's your turn to take a step forward. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss our next adventure. Smash that like button now and let us feed the algorithm the energy it craves. Flood the comments with your thoughts and theories on what just happened. Your insights matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this journey with at least 5 friends who need to hear this powerful conclusion. The time is now. Your support is what keeps this storytelling alive.